You got some beard action going there?
A little bit.
You gonna join the what's that? The lumber? What the hell's that?
No, I'm probably gonna shave this weekend.
Automobile wuss.
A little hot.
Is it recording?
Oh yeah, we're recording.
Okay. Alright, I will start. So Spanish is on the rise and it is no surprise. Ranked third out of nearly 5,000 languages, nearly 346 million people speak Spanish to 330 million who speak English, which makes Spanish more popular than English, according to an article by Dr. Max Castro of the University of Miami. So today I'm going to speak about Spanish, about the language of Spanish, and why I think it should be mandatory for young children to learn. So the two components of my speech are why I think Spanish should be learned as a second language versus many other of the vast languages, and the importance of youth learning Spanish. So I will explain why Spanish as a second language should be our main focus. Among many languages, Spanish is a language for us to succeed. Spanish, like I said before, Spanish is on the rise and there is no surprise. We encounter it in everyday life, especially within our careers, such as construction. I mean, if we have a Hispanic within the management, most likely they're bilingual and we can understand them both with English and Spanish. But when we get to subcontractors, it can be a little harder where you have Hispanics who are only speaking Spanish and can depict just certain things of English. And this can be hard because when developing a project, we need to be able to understand each other. And if we can't understand Spanish, then there's a problem with, there could be a problem with the building itself. According to Brightside at brightknowledge.org, a site useful as a guide to careers, education, and student life, China is the world's most populous country and is a world contender in commerce. So we should learn Chinese, right? However, the U.S. Census Bureau says that over 400 million people speak Spanish, but it is a primary language in U.S. homes of over 38.3 million people with children 5 and older. So immigration is an example of this. My friend Melissa, she moved here in first grade. She is bilingual. She can speak both English and Spanish. However, her parents, on the other hand, mostly speak Spanish. At home, it's more so Spanish that she speaks to relate to her parents, but her parents can speak some English by the cues that they've learned in the world, but it's more so Spanish. Now, I want to speak of the importance of learning Spanish at a young age. Amelia Simpson at the Learning Language Institute described that there's a peak time when to learn language. So before the age of 6, it is easier to learn a second language because of the development and reproduction of language stems from observation. So for example, the alphabet and flashcards. When we were younger, we used to use flashcards to help us memorize different words. We would have, associate objects with the word or letters. So it's, for example, apple with A, B with baby or ball, C with cat, and so on. This would help us memorize things. So then, this time, they're exposed to new vocabulary, grammar rules, and etc. through songs, games, and etc. So according to Zilper Elementary, children use a natural process to learn language and can acquire the same to learn a second. So as in playing games, children play games and they make fun with it. So it's a natural process. If you all remember the game Memory, basically, you had pictures of different objects on these cards. It's more of a memorization game, but you had the objects and you'd have to memorize and match those objects. There's also a newer game called Zingo, and Zingo is a game kind of like bingo except different. It basically you have to fill the entire board, and on the board there are objects associated with words. So you can have soccer ball, and then you'll have the object there, or apple with an apple there. So just kind of memorize and continue the repetition of those objects. So now I want to summarize the main components of my speech. So I've talked about reasons why learning Spanish is important, and why I think we should learn Spanish over many other languages, and why I think it's mandatory for youth to actually learn. Many languages may be easier and more interesting to learn, but Spanish, it'll still make you culturally rounded and highlight you among monolinguals. I want you to take into account the number of occurrences you encounter Spanish and other languages in a day. I'll leave it up to you, but as it's obvious, I believe Spanish is our focus. Children need to learn Spanish early to succeed in this vast, rising Spanish world to succeed. Yeah.
Can everybody?
Gracias, gracias. Rápido.